What's the story, Morning Glory? What's the word, Hummingbird? Let's get into the Real Housewives of Atlanta, season 14, episode 7. So we are still at Sonya's cooking class. Drew has now arrived. Now, Drew was invited. She wasn't uninvited to this particular event, but she did tell Marlo previously that she wasn't going to show up because she doesn't want to be fake around Sonya. So here we are. So let's see how real Drew's going to be. So Sonya says in her confessional that she is glad that Drew came so that they can talk about their problems. So they're sitting down at dinner, and Sonya gives so at the beginning of this whole cooking class, when the girls were just arriving, Sonya made everybody wine, do that Jamaican dance, made everybody wine, and then the best whiner was going to get an award or whatever. So when they're sitting down for dinner, she decides to give out the award for the one who did wine the best, and it ended up being Marlo, and the award was Sonya's Olympic gold medal. Now, I'm assuming it was just for show, that she really wasn't giving Marlo the actual medal, because that would have been insane. So she gives her the medal, or pretends to give her the medal, for the award. Now, I just think that obviously Sonya just wanted to show off her accomplishment. It had nothing to do with, giving an award for the best wine. So they start eating dinner, and all the girls are there, including Mama Joyce and also Sonya's mother. Now, Sonya wants to address Drew. Before Sonya can even get a complete thought out, Drew jumps in because she loves to overtalk people and interrupt them. So Drew says, you could have talked to me when you were in my room in New York getting your makeup done for free. Sonya said it wasn't free. He charged me $25. And so Drew was like, well, did you pay him? And then Sonya said he didn't give me his contact information. Okay, but how long does it take to give someone $25? This is something else I'm curious about. So you're sitting there getting your makeup done or getting your makeup touched up. The makeup artist says it's going to be $25. I'm assuming he's telling you at the moment, either before, during, or soon after he was done with your makeup, he tells you that it's going to be $25. So why didn't you just say, okay, can I Zelle it to you, PayPal it to you, Cash App it to you, or I've got cash in my purse? And when you sat down in the chair, did he just attack you with his makeup brushes and started doing your face? Or was there a discussion where you're like, hey, can you touch me up a little bit? And he was like, oh, sure, come on. And then y'all discussed payment. How does this happen? Because the way Sonya kind of explained it, it made it seem like she was up in Drew's room to talk to her, to check on her or something. And then this makeup artist just showed up out of nowhere and was like, girl, let me give you a little touch up. Gave her a touch up. And then that was it. Like a little powder on the nose. And then that was it. That's how Sonya made it seem like. So when Drew was talking about payment, no, when Sonya said he charged me, okay, did he charge you because y'all had an agreement that he was going to do your makeup and you were going to pay him? Or did he just bombard you or just sneak up on you with his brushes and did your makeup without your consent and then demanded payment? Like, how did this all go down? Because I'm assuming there was discussion about payment. Why didn't you pay him at the moment? How do you not pay $25 right then and there when the service has been completed? Either you pull it out of your purse or you Cash App it to him or you do whatever. I don't understand. And if you can't do any of that, you don't have your phone with you, or which is crazy because these women, their phones are like surgically attached to them. If you can't pay him right then and there, take down his information, at least his phone number, and be like, okay, when I get to my phone, I'll go ahead and, send you the money. Why is this such a big deal? Why are we having a discussion about a $25 payment for a little powder on your nose? So Sonya says in her confessional that, she wants to make it look like I run out on my bills, and I don't do that. I pay my bills. So Drew didn't want to, she says, I didn't want to discuss whatever issues you had with me. I didn't want to talk about it in front of the group. So Drew feels like it was some kind of a setup just to embarrass her in front of the other ladies when Sonya had brought up her issues with Drew in New York. So they talk about the invite and disinvite. And Drew says, who does that? How do you invite someone and then disinvite them? She says, I was really hurt by that. And I agree with Drew. That's a hurtful thing to do, to invite someone to an event that you've invited everybody else to, and then you disinvite them. Well, not everybody else, but some people do. And then you disinvite them. That is just really rude. You don't do that to people. So Sonya's mom steps in and defends of her daughter. And she says, Drew, you need to stop making those faces. It's very disrespectful to Sonya, while she's talking to you. And, Drew, I guess, she calmed it down. And then they start going back at it, back and forth between Sonya and Drew. They're going at it. So Drew said that Sonya was a clout chaser. And Sonya was like, a clout chaser of you? You don't have anything. She goes, girl, I am a 4-time Olympic gold medalist. Honey, you ain't got nothing that I'm trying to chase, which is true, which is absolutely true. And I don't know why Drew said that. I don't know if Drew was trying to say she was a clout chaser of her, or if Drew meant that she was a clout chaser of the more popular women in the group. For example, Candy or Kenya. So Drew's then, when she got tired of, once Sonya shut her down with the whole, I'm a 4-time Olympic gold medalist, which that in itself puts her probably on the same level as Candy. Because to be a 4-time Olympic gold medalist, she did that. You competed with everybody in the world and you won gold. You came in first place. She did that. So that puts her on the same level as Candy, or even possibly higher than that, because this is international. Okay, so when Drew, felt the sting of that, she couldn't take anymore. So then she drags Candy and Kenya into the mess. And she says something like, Kenya, and didn't she have something to say about Candy and, her erotic toys? And Kenya was like, yeah, well, I just want to say, that Candy, sometimes they're just doing the most. I didn't think it was appropriate for you to be handing out those panties to us and blah, 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 and do all of this and all of that. You were just doing the most, Candy. And Candy was like, it was just for fun. It was just or whatever she was trying to say to defend herself. It was just, for fun. It was just a joke. It was like, no big deal. Like, what's wrong with you? And Candy was like, Kenya's a hypocrite. She's a straight up hypocrite. She was in that movie Menage a Trois. She was telling us, her crazy, bizarre sex stories, but now she's clutching her pearls because I'm passing out, whatever I was passing out to the girls. And so then Marlo says that in her confessional, she says that Kenya I love Marlo. Marlo is bringing it. Marlo is bringing all of it. And I'm enjoying Marlo on this season of Atlanta. I cannot get enough of Marlo. Her confessionals are on point. Whatever she says in her scenes, when she's confronting these other women, when she's talking with these other women, completely on point. I admire her for taking care of her 2 nephews. I love Marlo. Marlo is quick-witted. She's giving me all kinds of entertainment. So in her confessional, Marlo says that Kenya has slept with half of Hollywood. And the producer was like, well, can you give us some names? And then Marlo says, just Google it. Whenever Candy was popping, Google around that time who she was with. I thought that was funny. So moving on from that. So that whole scene with the Jamaican cooking is now over and seen. Moving on. Marlo, she was invited to a woman's expo, and she was asked to talk about her experiences growing up in foster care, and also to promote her charity, Glam It Up. And what this charity does, or what this foundation does, that it helps foster care girls. She helps them, gain their self-esteem, make them feel better about themselves. She teaches them etiquette. She takes them out to these luxurious 5-star restaurants. She just exposes them to an entire world that they normally would not be exposed to. And I think that what she's doing is absolutely commendable. Moving on from that. So Sonya is at home and she's telling her dad and her sister about how the cooking class went down. Her mom was already there, so her mom already knew what happened. And so while she's talking about what happened and the argument that she had with Drew, she tells her family, and then she had the nerve to call me a clout chaser. Like, what the hell do you have that I'm chasing? I'm a 4-time Olympic gold medalist. And her dad was like, boop, 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 boop. Like, she absolutely shut it down with that. So that was cute. Back to Marlo. So she's telling Drew, Candy, and she's telling Drew that Candy and Kenya should have stepped up more for sure. I think they're FaceTiming each other after she did her little presentation at the Women's Expo. So she's on the phone with Drew, and she tells Drew, Candy and Kenya, for as long as they've known Sheree, they really should have been there for her. They really should have stepped up for her more than they did because they've known her the longest. Now, Marlo, okay, sweetheart, why? Why does everybody have to put their life on hold to go run and hold Sheree's hand because an ex-con stood her up for lunch? Not just that, but an ex-con that she's not even ready to completely break up with, that she still wants to fool around with. Why do they have to just like drop everything and run to her and sit by her bedside and pat her hand for 7 days and 7 nights? Why? She's a grown woman. Okay, she's been around the block a few times. She knows how to handle when a man has done her dirty. Okay, like the rest of us. Okay, we don't expect all of our friends to stop living their lives just to come and hold our hands and coddle us and pet us and be like, oh no, I can't believe this happened to you. He stood her up for lunch. It wasn't like he broke up with her on some big public platform and just embarrassed the hell out of her and dragged her name through the mud and talked about her mama and talked about her kids and just completely tore her to shreds. He didn't show up for a lunch date. And then the producers came and told her, hey, his attorney just got off the phone with us and said he can't make it. I mean, it's not that big of a deal. It's not that big of a deal. Sheree is a grown woman. She was married to Bob Whitfield. I'm pretty sure she had been through a whole lot worse than some dudes standing her up. Some dude that she hadn't seen in 10 years standing her up for lunch. And he called her. Okay, the man actually called her to talk to her. And so because he started the conversation, what you doing? She thought, oh, okay, he's starting it off wrong. What was he supposed to do? Be crying on the phone? Like just broken down on the phone? Sheree, oh my gosh, Sheree, I stood you up. Let me tell you what happened. Like, he was going to probably give you an explanation of what happened. And then you could have gone from there as far as, is he full of it? Is this legit? What do we do now? He didn't show up for lunch. Girl, move on. Like, why were they making... And okay, so maybe they're making a big deal about it because the whole entire night, the night before she left for Philly, everybody was like, all right, is Tyrone going to come? Is Tyrone going to come? You're going to see Tyrone. Where's Tyrone? Maybe because they themselves made such a big deal about it, so it built up all of this anticipation for her, and everybody else was like they were having all of this anticipation. Oh my God, Tyrone, is he going to show up? And so when he didn't show up, it was like the whole world collapsed. So moving on from there. So Sheree meets with her life coach. Thank God. Hallelujah. Somebody with some sense. So she meets with her life coach, and the life coach was like, because she's been dealing with this life coach for a while. So he's familiar with, her get down with convicts. So the life coach was like, okay, Sheree, you need to take a really good look at yourself. A woman like you is with an ex-con. Okay, does that make any sense to you? I don't know what she said. I don't know if that's what he said, but he was alluding to that. Like, girl, this is not matching up. You've got stuff going on for you. Even though you might be a joke on these Real Housewives streets, at the end of the day, you still have stuff going on for you. So what's up? What's up with this? You can't find a decent man on the outside that you can actually spend time with. I mean, you put your life on hold for 10 years for this man. He comes out and then he does you like this. So you can't, I mean, it just does. It makes no sense. It makes no sense. And so then they start talking about her business, and she says that she's been so focused on her personal life that she hasn't put in enough energy and effort into her business. So her life coach tells her that she needs to focus on her business. Focus on the business that's going to actually pay you and not drain you of emotions, money, because can't nobody make me believe that Sheree wasn't sending this man money when he was behind bars. So I feel like the reason why Sheree is so focused on this man instead of being focused on her business is because this man doesn't have high expectations for her, but this business does. I think that the whole She by Sheree thing has been completely overwhelming for her because she has been the butt of many jokes about this damn fashion line. So I think she's probably so afraid of setting up this business and it possibly failing and being the butt of the joke again, woman. So she doesn't even really put an effort into the business because she doesn't want it to fail. She doesn't want to face the possibility of it going up and then possibly coming down and people still making fun of her. So she'd rather put her energy on this man, this ex-con. She'd rather put her energy in him because he's already going to put her on a pedestal. In his eyes, she is the prize because she's Sheree Whitfield. You know, she's a beautiful woman who was on a very successful reality TV show. You know, she's famous on these reality TV streets. She's got some type of clout. So to him, it's like, okay, you're everything. You're like the perfect package. She's everything to him. But if the business end of it, she probably has no confidence in herself as a businesswoman, doesn't know what decisions to make. She's so worried about what people are going to think of her. You know, everyone's been waiting for She by Sheree for, 567 years. We're still waiting on She by Sheree. So she's so petrified of that failing that she'd rather go with a sure bet, which is I'm going to date a man who's in prison because I'm going to be perfect to him. In his eyes, I am the prize. He's made it to the mountaintop. He has seen the coming of the Lord with me. There's no effort there. It's easy to impress him. It's not easy to live up to the whole world's expectation of you being a businesswoman and launching She by Sheree. Moving on from that. So the life coach tells her, okay, don't you ever in life date another ex-con? And she says, oh, I won't. We'll see about that because sometimes, you know, dating an ex-con is like getting a tattoo. You know, you get addicted to it. You can't just stop at one. And so I don't know because, you know, we've all seen Love After Lockup. And once they go ex-con, they never go back. Moving on. Candy. So Candy calls Marlo to... This was a funny scene. Candy calls Marlo because she wants to donate some clothes to Marlo's Glam It Up Foundation, the foundation that deals with the girls in foster care. And Marlo, I mean, they were FaceTiming each other, right? So the beginning of the conversation, you know, it was going kind of well. And then when Candy brought up, well, I have some clothes to donate to your foundation. I mean, Marlo's facial expression completely changed. I mean, she went stone cold, like nothing. And she was like, I don't think that's going to work, Candy. I don't accept hand-me-downs for my girls. My girls deserve the best of the best. They live in hand-me-downs. So, no, I am not giving them hand-me-down clothes. You're not going to put a whole bunch of your old clothes in some trash bags and give that to my girls. You know, they deserve better than that. So, Candy was like, oh, okay. So... forget about that. Moving on. Sheree. She meets up with Kenya. So they talk about business first. So Kenya tells Sheree that her own business is struggling because she had all these deals with Walmart, but she didn't deliver because of deadlines that she missed and products not coming in on time, so on and so forth. And so Walmart is giving her like half of a chance to try to make up for it. So she's got to hustle. Now, Kenya also says that the reason why her own business was failing was because she wasn't giving enough attention to it because she's going through her divorce, dealing with Mark and his, narcissism. So she kind of put her business to the side and now she's paying the price for it. Now, Sheree says that her business, I can't say that it was failing because it never started, but she was having issues with her business because she said what did she have already? She had already started with, did she say water bottles? Anything but clothes. Whatever she was talking about, it was anything but clothes. And how she was like running into distribution issues because she would have people help her. But when it got right to that point where stuff was supposed to launch, the people that she had that were supposed to help her were all of a sudden, they were men and they were all like, okay, so, like trying to hit on her, trying to get with her. And so this didn't make any sense. It made no sense to me at all. I'm pretty sure some of the men that she was dealing with in her business were probably flirting with her, trying to hit on her or whatever, but they want to make money too. Okay, they're not in this for charity. They're not just trying to do you a favor. So they want to make money too. So I don't think that they're going to be so wrapped up in trying to date you that the whole plan to launch these products goes downhill. It's just that she doesn't know what she's doing. And she's probably picking the wrong people who don't know what the hell they're doing. She herself doesn't know what she's doing. So this is the reason why. It's not like, okay, I was right there at the cusp of everything taking off, but then they didn't want to do it for me because I didn't want to date them. I don't think it went down like that. But if that's her story, we have to give her grace and accept it. So Kenya tells Sheree that Marlo's going around talking about her behind her back, bad mouthing her to everybody, making her seem like a really bad friend, and it's just not right because she really was sick the day of the single ladies' night. And so Sheree believes Kenya that she really was sick, and she has no issue with Kenya. They plan to have a luncheon and invite all the girls. So let's get to the luncheon. So we're at the luncheon, okay? The first people to show up is Drew and Sonya. And I'm like, how awkward is that? So I'm pretty sure the producers had given Drew and Sonya an earlier time than everybody else, because I was like, well, what a coincidence that the two women are having the biggest beef show up at this event, at this first, and it's just the two of them. So it was really, really awkward, but they were polite with each other. Then Marlo shows up, and then she tells them about her sister. Her sister's been having some serious issues. She says that her sister, she was arrested for a traffic violation. And I was like, oh my God, wow. That's crazy. A traffic violation. She's still, I guess, incarcerated. Marlo has to take care of her kids for her. I was like, wow, this woman's really going through it. So whenever she shows up for her court hearings, the judge can obviously see that Marlo's sister has some type of mental issue and that he can't just release her because she needs help. So, but the only help that the judge is going to approve is for her to get inpatient care, but she has to be in agreement with it. And she's not. She doesn't want to do inpatient care. So as long as she's resisting inpatient care, I guess she's going to stay in jail or something. So the sister's trying to appeal the judge's decision to put her in inpatient care. So she's going to go to trial, or she wants to go to trial because of that. So it's really sad what Marlo's sister is going through. Kenya shows up. She's still kind of sick. She's coughing and hacking everywhere. Everyone's there but Candy, because Candy is in LA filming her TV show because she's working on her Emmy. Because, she wants to be what do they call it? She wants to get an EGOT, where you have an Emmy, a Grammy, an Oscar, and a Tony. So she already got her Oscar, I think. So now she's working. Yeah, she does have her Oscar. I think she won her Oscar for Scrubs, TLC Scrubs. And so now she's working on her Emmy because she thinks the show is probably going to give her an Emmy. Who the hell knows? So as they're sitting there, Marlo brings up Candy wanting to give her hand-me-downs. So they're all sitting at the table at this luncheon. And so Marlo's like, Candy got in contact with me and she wanted to give me a whole bunch of hand-me-downs for my girls, her Glam It Up girls. And I wasn't going to accept that. My girls deserve better than that, because I was raised in foster care and all I had was hand-me-downs, and I'm not going to put my girls through that. And so Kenya was like, Marlo, you are sending the wrong message to these girls, because you're making them put a lot of emphasis on clothes. And that's not even what they need to be focused on. It doesn't matter if the clothes are hand-me-downs or if they're new. It shouldn't matter to them. They need to be focused on other things, not clothes. And so, Marlo talks about how when she was in foster care, all they gave them was hand-me-down clothes, hand-me-down toys. They never had anything that was brand new. And so it's important for them to, and I see where Kenya's coming from. You're putting a lot of emphasis, but clothes in this society, it can make or break you. So I don't see anything wrong with Marlo wanting the best of the best for her foster care girls, simply because I think in the foster care system, these kids are neglected, they're overlooked, they're pushed to the side because they're foster care kids. Everybody thinks that they should just be grateful with whatever is thrown at them, because, hey, your parents didn't want you, you better be glad that someone's willing to take care of you. So you eat whatever slop we give you, you put on whatever rags we give you, you play with whatever broken down toys we give you. And I think that's just wrong. I think foster care kids should get the same thing that kids who live in their own homes, their biological families, are getting. Other kids get new toys and new clothes. Why can't they? Why can't someone spend an extra couple of pennies for them to get brand new clothes, brand new shoes, brand new toys? So I'm all for that. I was like, Marlo, I totally get it. And Marlo should know, with her growing up the way how she did, what it felt like. We can't never get nothing new. We have to wear stuff that other people wore, with other people's smell on it, with other people's juju on it. Yes, I agree with Marlo. Get the girls brand new clothes if you can. So yeah. I agree with her. Kenya wasn't wrong either. She really wasn't wrong, but I agree more so with Marlo. So after they talk about that, Kenya addresses Marlo for talking behind her back and, calling her a fake friend and, talking about how she's not there for Sheree. And so then they start bickering. And then Marlo talks about Kenya's wig and is talking about how her wig ain't sitting right or something like that. But then Kenya and Marlo's wig were practically identical. Moving on from that. So Marlo stresses how she really does care and love Kenya and she's really looking out for Kenya and also for Brooklyn. And so it seems like they kind of like, decided to put aside their differences and just, okay, girl, we're good. So then Marlo addresses Candy's lack of friendship to Sheree once again. I'm upset because I don't feel like Sheree deserves like this super duper over the top care, like she just really lost somebody in her family. The dude just stood her up. He stood her up. That's all he did. Some dude that she was talking to that was in prison and now he's out, was supposed to meet her for lunch and he didn't show up, and girl, move on. Many women around the world have been stood up and they've been just fine. It's not like, she lost a family or her dog died or, she got horrible news from her doctor about her health. The man that nobody wanted her to date didn't show up. Y'all should be happy about that because then that might encourage her to leave him the hell alone. So then, Marlo's like, and Candy, blah, blah, blah. Candy wasn't there and Candy didn't do this and Candy didn't do that. And I don't agree with that. Like Candy B. Like, I mean, all you got, okay, girl, he stood you up. Oh, I'm so sorry. Let's move on to something else. That's all she needs. This whole thing of making a special night for her. The man was in prison. They weren't having a real relationship. You cannot have a real relationship with the man that is incarcerated for 10 years. It's just impossible. It's a very it's a relationship based on fantasy because all you can do is just fantasize about each other. Y'all can't go out on a date. You can't go to the damn movies together. You can't hold hands in the park. You can't take long walks on the beach. All you can do is just fantasize about being with each other. It was a relationship built on fantasy. And her life coach even told her that for 10 years, Sheree was his fantasy. When he came out, she became his reality. And maybe a reality he really didn't care for. Maybe he felt like he couldn't live up to her expectation. Anyways, moving on. So Sheree says, Candy should have been there for me, blah, 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 blah. Sonia apologizes to Sheree and Marlo for not inviting them to her photo shoot. So then she says, to make it up to you, I have another event. I'm going to fly y'all in to wherever they're going. And so Drew was like, well, didn't you invite me to that? And then you uninvited me. And Sonia was like, no, I did not. Drew, what are you talking about? What are you talking about, Drew? So you're saying that Sonia did this to you 2 times. She invited you to this event and then she uninvited you. Where's the proof of that? Because, you were quick to pull up the other text messages. Where's the proof of that? That just sounds weird to me that Sonia would do this twice. Because you would think that Sonia, at some point, I don't know which came first, the photo shoot or this other event. I don't know which came first. That at some point, Sonia would have been like, okay, I'm not inviting her anymore. Why would she invite you then? I don't know. I felt like this is something that was going on in Drew's head, but not in reality. So now Drew and Sonia are going at it. Sonia said that Drew was talking about how Sonia still hadn't paid the makeup artist. Drew said, you don't pay your bills. Drew says you're unstable. And then your girl was like, how am I unstable? And Drew said, because you went from 0 to 20 million in a hot minute. You're unstable. And Drew has a way of talking that can be very, very frustrating because she talks to you like you're losing your mind. Okay. She has a way of talking to you like you're losing your mind. Oh, really? Oh, really? You're unstable, girl. Girl, you're not right in the head. Girl, you don't pay your bills. Girl, you're just, just this way of her talking is just like very infuriating that if you're not a skilled debater or a skilled arguer, she can get you really unraveled. And no wonder Ralph is as hysterical as he is because she just, I don't even know what the word is. I can't even think of it right now, but she's kind of like, oh, you're crazy. Oh, you don't pay your bills, honey. You're wrong, sweetheart. And it's just like she's trying to be really calm, but she's still coming out with the attacks. But she's so calm about it, and she's just going and going and going and not letting you get a word in at all. And there's Sonya screaming and shouting and hysterical, and Drew was like, "Oh, but you don't pay your bills, sweetheart." Anyways, so that's all I heard. They were going back and forth. They were saying a whole bunch to each other, but that's all I heard. So Sheree and Kenya have to like physically separate them and keep them apart. So when Kenya was able to get Drew away from the craziness, they leave. Drew is basically like, she's done. Okay, so Kenya walks her out, and Drew had the audacity to tell Kenya, that Sonya, man, she's always starting mess with me. And Kenya was like, no, you started it. And Drew was like, I did? And Kenya said, yes, because you interrupted her when she was talking to Marlo and Sheree. You just cut in and overtalked her. So yes, you started it. And so then Drew was like, oh yeah. So Drew's gone. She's done. So now Marlo, she's with her nephews, and they're going to FaceTime her sister. This is really, really sad. They're going to FaceTime her sister. And so the conversation starts, and then, obviously we weren't privy to that. But when it was all said and done, Marlo tells us that it didn't go well. It didn't go well at all. She said that as soon as her sister got on camera, her sister started to cuss her out. I'm pretty sure in front of her kids. She was cussing her out, and she blamed Marlo for the situation that she was in. And she refused any inpatient care, and she cut the conversation off short, and she threw a chair at the monitor, and then she disappeared. She walked away, I guess. And it's just was really heartbreaking that her children had to witness this. I'm thinking they saw this. And so Marlo tells us that her sister really needs inpatient care, but she just refuses to get it. And it was just so heartbreaking because her boys, the mother must have done something right, because her boys are, some pretty decent kids. They have thrived, and for, considering what their mom is going through, these children have really thrived. Like there's some pretty awesome children, and it's just really sad that they have to go through this. And I know that it broke Marlo's heart. And so when she was like trying to fight back the tears, and she was hugging her nephews, and it was just so sad. It was so sad. I don't know if the kids saw this on camera, their mother acting like this, because I'm pretty sure that it would have been heartbreaking for them knowing that what their mom is going through. But anyways, yeah, that was a really sad moment. It ended on a really sad note. I felt so horrible at the end of it all. After all this craziness with these women and, the mess and the arguments, we're having a really good time. And then boom, Bravo brought us all the way down. But this is reality. This is what happens in real life. So hopefully things will get better for her sister and her kids. That is my review for the Real Housewives of Atlanta. If you like this content, please subscribe. If you don't like this content, don't worry about it. But thank you for stopping by anyway. Don't forget to rate the video on your way out, and I will definitely talk to you later. Bye.